Yeah.
I would use the information that was on.
Well, my article is perfect timing on that, so I can give him a copy.
We're off the record.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
I would like to call to order the regularly scheduled September 17th Sylvania Township Board of Trustee meeting at 6 p.m.
Call the roll. Mr. Haddad?
Present.
Mr. Mahoney?
Here.
Mr. Genowine?
Here.
Simcoe, here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I
pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did anyone have any corrections or changes they would like to make to the minutes of the meeting on August 20th and 29th?
August 20th should be spelled August instead of Argut.
Yeah, that would be good.
Oh.
But other than that, none.
Okay.
So I motion to approve as submitted.
Second. Call the roll. Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes. Any additions or deletions to the agenda this evening?
I know.
No? Okay. Hearing of the public on agenda items?
Nobody signed
No
in?
one signed in? Then that puts Darrell up.
Good evening. My first item is Resolution 13094, authorization of abatement for the property at 2639 Moffett Drive. This is a vacant property that we've received complaints on regarding the high grass and weeds. They've actually received 3 notices now and no response.
Authorization for Resolution 13-094 to abate property at 2639 Moffett Drive.
Second. Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Thank you. My next item is the monthly report for the zoning department. We continue to have a pretty good month as far as permits compared to last year. We had 57 permits for the month of August and $7.5 million of value. And for year to date, we're at, Greg, if you can, don't mind, yeah, thank you. 189 permits and just under 27 million in value. So dollar-wise, we're pretty close to where we were 2 years ago, much better than last year. On the single-family dwellings, for year to date, we're at 57. This is more than the past 2 years combined for year to date, so that's a 111% increase on number of permits and a 55% increase on the property value of the single-family dwelling permits. On zoning complaints, it's kind of a slow month, actually. We had 17 complaints for the month, and for the year we're at 140, which is down from the past 2 years. Monthly meetings, the Board of Zoning Appeals had one conditional use case. It was for Sylvania Compost and Recycling to operate, accept waste, yard waste at the site, and that was approved. Zoning Commission was canceled for no agenda, and project plan review was, there was only one item, is the O'Reilly Auto Parts, and they rescheduled until October. Just a few items to note. Muna Market at 5464 Monroe. If you've been by there recently, construction has begun, and hopefully.
Yeah, Dr. Joe, he's doing pretty good.
And then also 2 doors down from that, I didn't put it on here, but the Estate Jewelers building is looking pretty sharp too. So that whole little corner ought to look pretty good soon. Oakleaf of Toledo, 4220 Holland, Sylvania. They pulled their permits for the new memory care facility. The groundbreaking for that is going to be October 8th. 6920 Central Avenue, Denny's, the former IHOP. The sign permits have been approved, and they're looking to open at the end of September. 5501 Monroe Street, kind of the same neighborhood there as Muna Market and Estate Jewelers. Genoa Bank has entered into real estate purchase to buy the property from ABC Warehouse. This is the site of the former Fire Station Number 3, and they will be going through project plan review next month. And then the last item, it didn't really happen last month, but we're kind of excited about it, so I have to throw it in there. As you probably saw in the Blade, the shops at Franklin Place, better known as Target Shopping Center, has been sold. A local company, Devonshire REIT, purchased it, and they're looking to put up a new retail strip up there and bring in some nationwide retailers that we don't have in the area. So looking forward to that. And my last item is Resolution 13098. Mr. Zeitler and myself caught this last week. Originally, Resolution 12150, the zone change for Sylvan Prairie Park, the Olander Park system. It should read 8625-8991 Brent and 8700 and 8750 Sylvania Avenue. The original resolution had all four of those addresses on Brent Road, so this is just to correct that address mistake.
All right, offer 13-098 to correct and amend the resolution from 12-150 of last year.
Second. Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Greg. Darrell.
Hey, Darrell,
I knew
I'm
you
about to say the same for you then.
I got to talk to you about that one property that we had, the people were dumping all the stuff over off of, can't remember the address right this second. Got it written down in my car. But I'll talk to you about it after the meeting, because this guy now is parking his car in front of the guy's house and is dripping oil out of his transmission all over the place. And he called the police, but the police have said that they don't know what to do about it. But I think leaking transmission, isn't that a state violation of some sort?
I would say oil,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
EPA, they gotta want to do something with that going. So I'll just talk to
Could
you
end
about
up in
it.
the sewers.
All right.
Greg, did you want to come up here or stay there? Or?
I'll stay here, please.
Yeah, just make sure you talk to the mic. So.
Right, okay. The monthly report for August has been submitted for your review. We continued our efforts this summer with the concrete curb repairs. Just like to comment that on Joel, we tried a patching material, but the curbs were too far deteriorated, so they needed complete replacement at that point. Up at East Cobblestone, Settlers Ridge, is actually entailed some intersection curb ramps along with the ADA ramps and the truncated dome surfaces. You'll see those in that area. And then Jimson Court as well. So we're, this summer we went into some neighborhoods where we could do some good and bring the curbs up to a nice condition, excellent condition throughout the neighborhood. And we'll see what the frost and fall cycle does to us over the winter and look at where we want to deploy our troops next spring for the same type of effort. I'd like to add, though, that our 3 new employees are learning the trade of concrete finishing, forming very well. We have a great concrete crew, so to speak. When our department deploys for concrete curb repair, it's second to none. It's really quality stuff. So. The construction continues with the new vehicle refueling station. Slight delay with ordering the pumps. There was a failure with the electronic mechanism within the pumps, and therefore the manufacturer would not allow those pumps to be released. That's been corrected. Hopefully September 27th will be the completion date for that area, and just in time for leaf pickup, I might add. The roadside mowing, we'll perform that probably one more time in October. Street sweeper operations completed. We had some tree removal items, nothing new, and we helped out our firefighters over at Station 4 with some topsoil items. Other information is there for your review. Probably the big one that just happened last week is the household pickup. So,
How did that go? I didn't see much out on the streets as usual, so I was just curious, time-wise or volume-wise.
I would say average.
Average.
It was average, yeah.
Okay.
So, pending your questions, that's all I have for the
I
board.
just had a question, but I talked to the contractor about the electrical permit, because he said he didn't pull the electrical permit till today, and he's getting it all finished up, so he said he'll have it approved by tomorrow, because I was questioned about that. So I just wanted that on public record.
Thanks, Darrell.
That's great. Chief? No.
Other chief.
Yeah, well, we thought they might be a little bit longer for fire, so.
Okay. It's sort of like a house park, if somebody says dad, everybody.
Good evening. You have before you the Police Department's monthly report for August, and moving to first page, you can see that CAD, we entered 1,482 police incidents and 367 fire incidents, and then you can just see the volume of the calls our dispatchers are taking between the 911 and the police calls. That added up to 7,542 calls, and then an additional 139 calls on the fire line. Page 3, you can see our calls for service are down almost 1,500. Our property damage accidents are actually increased, but our injury accidents are down. We're up total crashes just a little bit. In the offense reports, I'm happy to report, and the numbers you can see there, we're down in every category that we have on the chart. And we're down significantly in burglaries. We're running 1/4 of the total, almost 1/4 of the total in robberies, but in all the ones that we chart on this map, or on this form, we're actually down in our crime stats, which is a good thing, obviously. Next page, detective caseloads and stats. There were 90 cases assigned to detectives in the month of August, of which they cleared 2/3 of them, 60 of them, leaving 30 active. They cleared an additional 56 cases that had been assigned previous months, so they had actually cleared 116 cases in the month. Next page, community affairs. Just some of the highlights. We're back in the schools with the DARE teaching in the elementary schools. We continue to do the ALICE training. Actually, at other schools, we've got a couple of officers that have gone to advanced ALICE training, and I know I was looking at the paper just the other day, and they were making a big deal about ALICE, actually down in Texas and some different places like that. So it's something that's really sweeping the country, and of course, every time we have an incident like the tragic incident yesterday, we're all thinking about that kind of stuff and trying to keep everyone as safe as possible. First day of school was August 22nd. We've tried to maintain the same kind of presence in the schools, our 2 middle schools and our 4 elementary schools that we started last year, especially after the Sandy Hook incident. We've got people in there on an everyday basis, especially at the beginning and the end of the school day. And actually, the 911 ceremony that we had last week, Dr. Rieger actually expressed his gratitude again. He's getting a lot of positive feedback about the presence and the visibility of the police officers within the schools. Speed trailer, we continue to put it out at locations where we get complaints and such. I know we're getting a number of complaints. Mr. Huffman had told me about Elmwood's a problem, okay, with it connecting into Tiffany Village and such. And so we've had the speed trailer out there, and I've got radar sheets where the officers have been on more enforcement there. And I invited that lady. She's got school kids, young kids at 2 different bus stops on that street every morning, so I can understand her concern. And so we're out there as much as calls for service and such will allow. Plainview, cut through, always been a cut through over the 30 years I've been out here. Since they put did the storm sewer work and such along there, there's not the ditches. A gentleman told me they seem to be flying through there a little more, so we're trying to hit that with the speed trailer and some
increased traffic enforcement too. And Wilford, which is always another problem too. It tends to be the regular ones over time. And you'll find the next page interesting, probably. There's a little description there from our canine officer, Sharast. Just a couple of incidents occurring in August. You can read the narrative there, but these are just everyday type calls that we may not have had the resources to fully investigate them, confiscate, seize monies. Obviously, we seize drugs. We're entitled to seize the monies in the vehicle or on the person along with the drugs. And you can see that, quite frankly, the dog is paying for itself very quickly. And more importantly, it's getting the drugs out of the township like we need to do. And then the rest, the DEA task force, that's, there's nothing earth-shattering there. And the money's seized from the courts and that sort of thing. So one additional thing, I spoke of Alice before. Again, we have three officers that have received advanced training in Alice, so we continue to assist other schools too. And I got a real nice letter here from the Otto Hills superintendent for their school district that speaks very highly of our department and Sylvania City, Sergeant Music with the city too, about the job we did in, or I shouldn't say we did, our officers did in teaching the staff and introducing Alice to the Otto Hills school system. And with that, if you have any questions or issues, I'm here to answer them.
Those are really great numbers on the crime, and I mean, I know that goes a lot to your staff and to their involvement in the community, and, I just think that that's fantastic. That's probably number one in priority with the community, and it's great to see that it's paying off. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think a large part of it is the deterrent. You've probably experienced this, all three of you living in the township. I swear you can't drive 2 miles through the township without seeing one of our cars. And I got to believe that helps a lot, and that's a credit to our patrol officers, because they're very active out there. They don't go sit behind buildings, they don't do any of that stuff. They're very active in their patrol, so, all the credit to them that they're as visible as what they are.
I've gone 3 miles one time.
3 miles, okay. We'll have to check that data.
Just once. But you're right, they're out there and they're very visible, so I'm very proud of that. Thanks, Chief.
Good, thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Next up is the fire department. Chief?
Good evening. Before you have August monthly report. As you can see from page 1 on our fire reports, we too are down a little bit on our fire incidents for the month, but we're up about 171 fire incidents for the year. So although we are down for that month, we're up a little bit in the year. Page 2, you see our EMS responses. Again, we're down a little bit on our EMS responses than what we were August of last year. We're down about 51 runs, and we're actually down about 229 runs for the entire year itself. Next page there, Greg. There you go.
Nope,
just to the
sorry.
bottom of that.
Okay.
Page 3, or page 4, excuse me. You'll see this is our mutual aid incidents. We received mutual aid from Springfield Township for a fire incident we had on Eaglehurst Road. They were actually called to the scene, and we had 3 incidents during the month of August that we had no ambulances available at all in the system, so we contacted Springfield Township and requested ambulance response from them, and they transported 3 of our patients to the hospitals on a mutual aid contract that we have. Page 5, community risk reduction. We continue to work hard in our public safety events. We had 3 public safety events at the fire stations tours. Chief Freilich went ahead and presented fire safety education to 2 different groups. One was required by state of law at our Sylvania Care and Rehab Center. All of our nursing homes have to have an updated class every year on fire and extinguisher use, and we provide that for all the nursing homes and hospitals in our area. Also, we did the residents, the RAs at Lord's College. We taught them
Again, went over fire escape plans and fire extinguishers, although we think maybe we should have spent 2 hours and taught the students how to cook, because that's where the majority of our runs come in. They have food on the stove in those resident halls. Building and project plan reviews. We had 9 plan reviews, 3 license inspections for preschools, daycares, and adoption, 12 environmental reviews, 3 final acceptance tests for the alarm systems in our commercial buildings, and our fire crews conducted 399 inspections during the month of August. Our monthly training, again, Lucas County EMS was not active in the month of August, but this month in September, we're doing our advanced cardiac life support training. That's an 8-hour class that's mandated by the state of Ohio, so you'll see those numbers actually double for the month of September. And then also crews practice their fire suppression skills at the tower at our training site off of King Road. Next page, we have 3 STEMA follow-ups. These follow-ups are done by Toledo Hospital. They're a great way for us to get feedback as to how well or bad we're doing in the field. The first one was a 66-year-old female developed chest pain and weakness after working in her garden. Paramedics Shane Hiller, Jeremy Gillen, Nick Scalzo were on the first respond unit. They identified her as having a right-sided STEMI, which is a heart attack. They got her to the hospital, and she was in the cath lab and was cathed within 61 minutes. 61 minutes is a little long, but if you'll see the note on the bottom, it was because they already had somebody on the table receiving a cath. That's why it was a little bit longer than normal. Second one I have for the EMS STEMI follow-up, again, paramedics Jason Hostler, Jeremy Maddox, Brad Mauck, and Lieutenant Mike Safarowitz and Greg Wilcox were on an incident where they had an individual that was in cardiogenic shock, a VFib cardiac arrest. They brought the person back to life, shipped them to the hospital, it was an 61-year-old male. He received 2 stents and is in ICU right now, alive and kicking. The last one was a 54-year-old female, complained of chest pain for about 90 minutes before she called 911. Paramedics Darren Myers, Todd Walters, and Jim Wolf with Tom Smead responded. They were able to give her a 12-lead EKG, again, determined that she was having a heart attack, shipped her to the EC. Her cath time was 47 minutes, which is really outstanding, and if you'll notice, just above that, they had a 12-minute on-scene time, which is phenomenal. That's great. So these patients are getting to the hospital very quickly. We're seeing, as I said, high survivability rates on Life Squad 6, one of the highest in the Lucas County system. And that's all I have for the monthly report, unless you have something for me.
Monthly report, thank you.
Okay, the next topic is I have a resolution. I have some papers to hand out to you first to help in case you have any questions. These are bulletins that we received for the construction on the new station. Thank you. These bulletins come out as we construct the building. We find that if something is needed or something that we can save some money on, we go ahead and go through and change the work orders. You want to go through this first or talk about the resolution, or how would you like to do it?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay, if you look at the page number 1 on the bulletin, you'll see that the items that I've highlighted in orange are items that the Lucas County building has mandated that we change. In other words, they have told us that these are things that we have to change in the building. We don't have a choice. If you'll scroll down to that first page, there you go. The first one is a door and window additions and ratings. The doors and windows that are in conjunction with the apparatus floor have got to be fire rated because they separate. It's a fire separation between the apparatus floor, the rigs, and where the firefighters are going to live. So all those areas, the glass, the frames, and everything had to be fireproof. So there was an additional cost of $3,400 on that they mandated. The top of the wall also had to have a fire rating on it. So we had to add that fire rating to the wall again, the wall that separates the apparatus floor from the living quarters. And the exit signs had to be ADA approved. And that's the two, we had to add 2 signs there. So that's the $5,210 on bulletin number 1. Bulletin number 2, I've highlighted in green. Those areas are or issues that we've already talked about, like the generator, the pad for the generator and the transfer switch we already brought up at a meeting. The geotech fabric in front of the apparatus bays and in front of the main entrance. If you remember, that's that fabric that we put in and then put stone on top so the earth wouldn't move. And then the perforated drain tile, that's that 4-inch tile we added in the back of our wall to the firehouse that butts up against Solder's wall so we can drain that water out behind the wall so the water wouldn't freeze in the wintertime and push Mr. Solder's wall out. The other items that are in black on that page are items that we've come across that we've either determined we can save a little money or we felt that we needed. The first one was instead of putting gray mortar, I had put gray mortar instead of the pigmented mortar. I didn't see a real difference between it, so we saved $1,600 there. We added 3 smoke detectors. We had 3 rooms in the entire building that weren't covered by a smoke detector, so we had 3 of those. We had 3 smoke detectors in there, and that was done by a request from Deputy Chief Freilich, who did our plan review on that system. The hoist beam, you'll see down there, item 3-A, we added $538. There has to be a hoist beam in the elevator tower. That was overlooked by the architect. That's something that is mandated by the code for the elevator itself. The patio slab, they were going to put in decorative stamping concrete, and it's very hard to keep up. So I told them, let's just put a swirl coat on it. So they deducted $169 from our total project. Rustification is basically 2 items on there. We had one where we are wanting to the vertical indents in the concrete walls along the south wall. This is for future, in case we want to go ahead and put future bays in, we can go ahead and because of these indents, we could take that sections of that wall out and still go ahead and put another bay in without any difficulty in the future rather than trying to cut it out and put lintels in. New guardrail for the roof frame. This is something that it's really not mandated by Lucas County, but they wanted a guardrail up there for that roof framing so that it would fall off. The block flashing, that was just some flashing on the actual top of the roof area. That concludes bulletin number 2. Bulletin number 3, shower floor system. We have to, by code, have 1 ADA compliant shower on the upstairs sleeping quarters. That ADA compliant shower does not have the normal lip like you would in a regular shower stall. So the water's going to get from the shower itself into the center of the floor. Even though there's a drain there, they went ahead and suggested that we put in this Curdy system. And what this system does, it's like a mastic that they put down, and then they put down a webbing over the top of that, and it's guaranteed not to leak. So rather than take the chance in 5 or 6 years that we have a leak, I would rather try to put the right system down to begin with. We don't have any leaks because there is electronic equipment right below that shower area. So we added the Curdy system to the ADA compliant shower and the room and the shower itself, and just to the other 2 showers we just put the Curdy system in the shower stalls themselves, not in the entire room. 30 lineal feet of concrete to prevent erosion. This is something the city of Sylvania brought up and was concerned about the hill in the back because that's going to be a very quick drop-off. They wanted a curb in there to prevent the erosion from going down into Mr. Solder's parking lot. The aluminum ladder on the roof, this is something that Lucas County mandated. We have 2 roof sections. If you look at the building here, this roof section here is a little bit higher than the roof section here. It's a step down of approximately 4 feet. Lucas County said that we should have a ladder on that roof section so that guys can get down safely from the top part where the hatch is to get into the building to the lower part, because we have exhaust fan systems right up in here on this roof, so they can get down and work into the exhaust system. Kitchen cabinets. The original kitchen cabinet stipend was $2,600, which is utility cabinets. So what I did is I worked with the ABC Supply, and I had them give me a price on the cabinets, the same type of cabinets we have at number 2's and number 3's fire station. They were about $1,800 higher than what it cost us to put them in at the other 2 stations, so I made some changes in the cabinets themselves, even though they're the same, then made them the exact same cabinets as what we put in the other 2 stations, so we saved about $1,800 on that, but it did cost us an increase of $3,890. And that concludes bulletin number 3. Bulletin number 4, it's not officially bulletin number 4 yet, but it will be bulletin number 4. There are 2 areas in the top that I highlighted in green. Those are areas that we've already talked about. That's that cast stone piece, that badge in front of the station that looks very nice. We had some great comments on that. And the bonding agent that they have to go ahead and put behind that so we can put that, get that to stick. And then we had a temporary power credit of $350. We replaced curb at the northwest corner. What that curb is there is a curb there that butts up against Mr. Sauter's wall, and we want to replace that curb and tie the wall together with that curb, in other words, to help that wall out so we don't have any future problems with that. The mezzanine chain link fence, our storage area on the first floor, we have a mezzanine area. They were going to put a handrail up there with the chain link fence. I didn't want the chain link fence, so we deleted that. It still is within code. It gave us a deduction of $515. We had to cut a bond beam on the second floor, workroom 2, in the room 208, to get the return air vents through that area, and that cost $208. So what I did is I broke it down into sections. I highlighted the sections on that second sheet of paper I got. I gave you on the back side, on the back part of that second sheet that you have, you'll see the some of the costs that we were able to recuperate from that. The first page you'll see $8,021 on the items that Lucas County required us to do. $20,369 are the ones that we've already talked about, such as the generator and the fabric and all those things. The ones in black, the $19,773, are the things that we had to add that I just went over. Most of them were trying to make the building better and more reliable. And on the back page are the credits that we received for some of the things that we did. So we have about almost a $10,000 credit with making some of the changes that we did. Any questions on any of that?
Looks good.
Okay, with that being said, I offer resolution 13-093 for your approval.
I'll offer resolution 13-093 to approve the change orders for fire station number 1.
Second.
Mr. Haddad?
No.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I'm going to explain why I said no. I want this on public record right now. First of all, when we began this process, I was worried about that retention wall by Sodders. And I was worried about the support of it, and I knew the changes that were going to come up on that. That's why I did not want to build on site. Second of all, according to the government rules that we're supposed to follow, we're supposed to take the lowest and best bid. I want that on the record. Because we took the lowest bid, not knowing what the construction was going to be pertaining to what they were going to do during the construction. And all these changes were now at the price of the 4th lowest bid. Over $2.4 million when we started at $1.96 million. We're already way above that, and I guarantee you by the time we're done, we're going to be over $2.5 million, which I quoted in the beginning. That's all I have to say on the record. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Secretary.
Okay, after the chief's change orders, I sent an email with a recap of the numbers. I'd like to recap the numbers for the public, and then this will be on our website, hopefully tomorrow. With the change orders, it brings our construction of the station to $2,164,695. Our original estimate was $2,070,000, so we're up $94,095 on the construction part of the station. On the equipment, such as the cabinets, the gear, and that, our original estimate was $139,100. We're currently at $127,739 for a deduct of $11,361. The total change orders to date brings the cost of the station up to $2,292,434, or 3.7% above our estimate.
John, what was in your experience with the Mud Hen Stadium and the arena and your past constructions over, 28 years is the county? 3.5%?
31.
31, sorry. So 3.7% in your judgment is pretty
I would say it's real good.
That's what I thought.
We would always see if we could keep it under 10%.
We're not including engineering costs, though, toward the architect.
No, that's all in here.
I didn't see that in there.
Well, maybe you should read your emails a little
The-
better.
the
I'm a little
first-
disappointed that you're
The first line is
angry and
the $150,000.
I just think
demise
that
this
we're way over
project, I
budget,
think.
we're using township dollars.
We're not over budget, Mr. Haddad. At
Yes,
least
we
make
are.
a correct statement. We are not over budget.
We are.
John,
The first line on the attachment was the architect fees that's in there.
are we over budget on this, John?
Not yet.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on.
Well, we-
Okay.
that's opinions and mine's different.
Mr. Simcoe. No, wait, administrator, sorry. We're giving you a break.
This is Resolution 1397 authorizing a lump sum payment to the township administrator, which is myself. I sent an email out on what this involves. If you want, I can read it into the record if anybody has any questions. Basically, what it is the township wanted me to the SCIC to be their co-executive director. The SCIC then paid the township $3,000 for my services. Half of that money came from a state innovation grant because it was unique in that the city, the township, and the SCIC all went together to form this partnership. And the state, we submitted a grant to the state, and the state liked it, and they're paying half of that salary. So what this is basically is asking you to grant me a 2.5% payment, which is $2,340, with the township's pension contribution to a total of $2,650. I purposely asked for less than the SCI was paying the township, so the township makes a little bit of money on this in that they are receiving $3,000. This is a one-time payment, and it will not increase my base salary at all. And as you recall, back when the non-bargaining salaries were given out, I did not take an increase at that time. So this will be my only increase for the year.
I'll offer Resolution 13-097, authorize lump sum payment to Township Administrator.
Second.
Mr. Haddad?
Yep.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genoway?
Yes.
Thank you.
John, you're doing a great
Well done,
job with
John.
us and with CIC, and it's nice to have someone as involved as you sitting on that board and making sure that, we're getting our piece out of it, and I think it's worked real well so far. So
I
thank you.
think so too, I appreciate it, and not to toot my own horn, but the feedback, and I want to give Bill Sanford credit because he's the other co-executive, but we've had very positive response from the community on the way the SCIC is going and getting out there and getting our message out and changing the direction that we want to go to help the community with development and economic.
Thank you.
Dave, you're up.
All right. Beck's not here.
Well, we have our fiscal officer report and our month-end analysis of August. It's very brief, you can see. We can go on until he finds it there, but at the end of the 8-month of operation, we should be at about 66.6% on our expenditures, and we're really below that with each department in 2013. And actually, we're just a little bit better by and large over 2012. So our expenditures, I think, are well in line with what we planned. In fact, they're slightly down some. On the revenue side, revenues are good. The general fund is up dramatically, but as we know, that's because of a large estate.
Thank you.
Large estate, there it is.
Sorry.
You can see that.
Rookie.
In revenues under 2013, we're up dramatically, but that's an estate receipt that we did get. Someone passed away and owed money to the township and the estate tax. We've really gotten in most of our taxes. Now we have a little bit more to come in. And so everyone acts on revenue-wise, we're doing slightly better than 2012, but the police and fire are just very close to each other, and that's kind of variables. Maybe something came in a little sooner this year than last year, but we're on track, I think, on our revenues to be what we've projected and that to be. And so we should be awfully close to, or if not at 100% in the police and fire. We'll be over 100%, I think, in the general fund, and you can see Road and Bridge has really gotten in the vast majority of its money because it's already at 100%. So, and their expenditures in Road and Bridge are really down, as you can see, but that again is the variables in when we incur various expenses. And so it will probably spend probably close to what was budgeted. So all in all, our finances are still looking good so far this year. And with getting 8 months in, we're starting to get a little bit more of a trend. When we're starting out at the first 2-3 months, it's hard to really tell. But now we're starting to see, and they should hold that way too, I think. So we're on track for a good year financially. And I have resolution number 13-095, and it's a transfer of appropriations. And you can see eventually here it'll pop up there. These are just small things, about $430 on a lease and $200 for workman's compensation. And there's one more in there. That's some things on our bank reconciliation.
Click on the next item.
And there's one other on your computers. There is this transfer of appropriations. There's one other item in there. Oh, there it is.
Sorry.
Everyone stand on their head. Stand on your head. Yoga. We'll do a little yoga here. And, oh, there it is. So I said 430 at 200 and 615. We get billed for some auditor and treasurer fees that they charge us, and it's really nominal amounts. But that's resolution 13-095.
I'll offer resolution 13-095, transfer appropriations.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
And the last resolution I have is 13-096, and as you can see, the fire department received a donation and would like to be able to spend it. And so, and that's a good thing sometimes. So we get a donation. We do get some donations now and then, sometimes to the police and fire, and you'll see them. And it usually comes, occasionally it's from a citizen. I'm not sure where this came. Now and then we get donations from some of our service organizations in the community, and they normally give them to the police and the fire, and then they find a need for them or use for them that they can spend the money. Sometimes a person has some suggestions as to what they'd like, and if that's in accord with what the police and fire really want to, if it's a worthwhile expenditure, then they go in that direction, try to fulfill that person's desire as to expenditure of the money, and as long as it's consistent with our mission, then we do that. And so it's a win-win situation for the township, and the citizen feels good about making the donation. So I have that resolution. 13-096.
13-096, increase appropriation on unencumbered funds from a donation.
Second.
Hey, Mr. Haddad?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
That's all I have for this evening.
Okay.
I had one item under open discussion. Last fall, we put LED lighting in around the building here for two reasons. Because the old lighting was bad and it's very energy efficient. We were so successful with that, with the efficiency and the lighting, that I don't know if you've ever been to the police station at night, but probably half their lights are out. Either the ballast is burned out or the lights burned out. So we're going to be starting a program over there to replace all their lighting with the LED lights. And so I just want to let you know that.
That's a good cost-saving measure.
Yeah, that by the time we're all said and done, and we get the credit from Edison, that it'll be a good cost saving. Plus, it'll light up the parking lot in the building.
Got to prevent crime over there.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Under open discussion, we approved a couple months ago to pay Mike Jones $12,000 a year for doing articles. just wanted to know why Mr. Genowine writing articles too on top of those for the township. If you're gonna do that, I would like to just, get that reversed, so we're saving some money for the township.
It's actually $6,000.
No?
It was $800 a month, I believe.
Correct.
We brought it down,
Yeah.
so that's
Still,
$9,600.
why are you writing articles on top of those?
My point has always been to keep the citizens informed.
But, Mr. Genowine, you haven't wrote them to the last 2 months before the election here.
Mr. Haddad,
I asked a question, that's all I want is an answer.
I think it serves the citizens well, is my answer, Mr. Haddad.
So do you have any more coming out before the election? That's what I wanted to know too publicly.
I hope so.
I think that's wrong to do that, that's an ethics violation, but we'll worry about that later, thank you.
Well,
I want to say that on record.
much like most of your accusations up here, they've been wrong and false and pretty much downright.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Hey, Dave, I think it was a great idea, Simcoe, when you thought of, we've had an identity crisis out here in the township with articles and telling the people what the township's all about. And I think it's been a great avenue and a great venue.
But that Mike's Jones' job to do that, that's what we're paying him. Not that.
Well, I do think, I would
Anyways,
say,
as I was saying, I think it's a great thing for the township to keep them informed. And I thank you for your recommendation 2 years ago.
well, I think Mike does a good job on getting stuff out.
Correct.
The township does have, it just helps us communicate with citizens. There's various means of communication, as you know. We've got, some things are on the internet and word of mouth, people attend meetings, things of that sort. But another means of communication is the Sylvania Advantage. It's our local paper, and so we get a bit of we get some article out there, and people know what's going on. And Mike is a retired blade reporter.
But I think
Par
you
excellence.
continue doing that.
Par
I
excellence.
should continue doing that, since we're paying him. to
Well,
do
Mr.
that.
Haddad, you voted against him.
I understand that, but
so-
if he's doing it, he should be doing it, not you.
Well, it wasn't the first time I've written them. I've written them
Read it after
periodically.
go to the election now.
Well, no, I've written articles before that, but I don't
I
think
never
this is
saw
a
any
way,
before that, sorry.
a time or a place to do your campaigning.
That's all right,
So,
that's where you're doing
at
yours.
this time, I would like to offer a motion to.
Well, you didn't ask for hearing on the public, not agenda
We do
items.
have.
Nobody signed
signed in.
Okay.
Okay.
So Mr. Genowine moves to adjourn at
6:47.
6:47. Mr. Haddad. Calling the roll of Mr. Haddad.
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney.
Yes.
Mr. Genowine.
Yes.
Thank you.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Kevin, how's your IRS audit going?
None of your business, man. Why not?
Good night.